What is up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button, and if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room, hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the reel of reality TV. Man, when I tell you, oh gosh, I was just sitting here. I was listening to some commentary about one of the content creators that I've been subbed to for a little while now. True T. She does a lot of commentary about Love and Marriage Huntsville, and she goes into some very colorful opinions and views about a number of people, a number of the cast members that I in a lot of ways agree with, honestly, and I love her flow and delivery. But I wanted to talk about this, guys, because when I was listening to this, I was just shaking my head like, you have got to be kidding me. So it was reported that Mauricescott was suing a few content creators, as well as possibly just someone who is a subscriber to some of the content creators' channels that he was allegedly pursuing in court and litigating against for maybe defamation. I don't really know, but I never saw any paperwork myself. But in a number of the in a number of things when it comes to lawsuits, it's not so much that I actually saw the legal paperwork myself. Someone else may have been reporting on it, and I'm assuming, oh well, they must have seen the paperwork. But True T has let it be known that there apparently has not been an actual lawsuit that has been filed. So when I was hearing little bits and pieces about a court date coming up and the situation involving the content creators that he was allegedly suing, I just assumed that they had been served with some lawsuits. And I know from being a former legal assistant myself, I was one for 12 years ago. But until someone is actually served, yes, a lawsuit can be filed, but until the party or parties have been served, nothing can move forward. And there are times when they are attempting to serve someone and they could either be dodging the service or they just don't know how to locate the people that they're trying to serve. So there may be things where they have to come up with other ways of serving the person. But I say all of that to say, in those extenuating circumstances, there is no court date that is scheduled because the person hasn't even been served yet. And every state is different, but depending on the state, most states have given the party that is the defendant or defendants, you have 30 days, sometimes less, to respond to a lawsuit once you have been served. So once the complaint is served, the answer to the complaint, and you can deny everything that has been alleged in the complaint, they have to give you the opportunity to respond. Now, service of process is something that is proven. Once service of process is done, then the clock ticks on the time for that party to respond to the complaint, to answer it. But there is no court date scheduled yet. Once that person or persons have responded to the complaint, then the other party can request a hearing, or they can request a motion for summary judgment, which is basically saying that this person is guilty. Can you just go ahead and issue a judgment on my behalf? And here's why. And then the other party or parties, they can respond with a motion to dismiss, or they can just respond to the motion for summary judgment, asking the court to deny the plaintiff's motion for summary judgment. Listen, guys, I'm sorry. The legal stuff is coming out of me as I speak. But, excuse me, I was never involved in petty stuff like this. When I was in the legal field, I worked in law firms that handled employment and labor law, medical malpractice, and wrongful deaths. A little bit of criminal, not much. the attorneys that I work for, a couple of them did pro bono criminal work. And then there were things like construction negligence and workers' compensation. And in the firm that I worked in, it was for the defense. So they worked for the insurance companies for the employers. But I say all of that to say, I know a little bit about the civil when it comes to small claims, which this is what this would be, because I don't know what his end goal was. But to me, based on the information that True T has exposed, it looks like he was just digging for information and possibly using his law license to intimidate, to use scare tactics, and possibly to gain information that he was not privy to receiving. Because from what True T stated, he had subpoenas sent out. But you can't just subpoena someone out of the clear blue sky. It has to be attached to litigation. So I just was like, what? When I heard that and I was listening to it, and the reason why I was so shocked, not so much because I feel like he's a professional attorney. I've questioned that before. My question to most people was, okay, he claims he's an attorney, but what field of practice does he involve himself in? Is he working with a law firm? Does he have his own law firm, which that can happen? And if he does have his own law firm, what type of law is he practicing? Because all I really hear about is the credit repair company. And I know that there are some states that in order to conduct credit repair, a company has to either have a licensed attorney on staff or be a licensed attorney. Every state is different. So I was like, well, maybe he went to law school, based on the laws in Alabama, where he had to be a licensed attorney, and he doesn't want to refer out or hire anyone else to do this work with him, and he wants to do it all himself. I don't know. I was just wondering and asking questions. Because when you see them on the show, I don't see much of him working. Do you guys? I mean, to me, he's reminding me a whole lot more like Hotel, and I never really thought about it in that way before, and until very recently. Because he shows up on the show, he's wearing the suits, he claims he's so busy, he needs Kimmy to pick up his son, not their son, his son from school or football practice or whatever the kid is doing. And it looked like, just the appearance of, I'm speaking of what it looks like, it looked like he wanted to use the fact that he's a man, his child is a male, and he wants to make it seem like, oh, well, our son is older, he should really be living with me now, so I could really raise him up to be a man of honor and do this and do that and impart in him. And it's going to be difficult for me to do that when his mom, my ex-wife, and he are living in another state many hours away. And then, oh, by the way, since I'm going to have custody of our son, let's go ahead and cut down on that child support. To me, that's what it looked like. You can let me know your thoughts of what that appeared to be. And it looked like Kimmy just was not in on this and not really agreeing to it, but because this is her new marriage that she was really wanting, hoping, and manifesting and all of that stuff. In my personal opinion, I just felt like she didn't feel comfortable with just putting her foot down to say, no, I'm not with this. And so she's just going along to get along, as well as even when she was going through a cancer battle and not having the drive to give him what he claims he needs, just like Carlos needs mess and gossip, and just going along to get along, even when she didn't feel good. It didn't feel like it. It's just disgusting. And this is the type of stuff that I tell you guys when I see this show, how it's just a horrible representation of marriages. It really is. It's disgusting. And for the core group, the core six, as they call themselves, which we know Melody hasn't been married for several years now, and God bless, right? But yet and still, a terrible representation of a marriage to have this meathead sucker that felt like because he has a ding-a-ling and balls that he should be able to order his wife around. She should be pleasing him at his beck and call whenever he felt like it, and having 4 babies, taking care of the household, taking care of the kids, and paying all the bills, because allegedly and apparently he hasn't been able to do that on his own, and he's been out here struggling, right? So Maurice has been looking more and more like him. Seriously. And to hear that he has, it looks like, used his law license to intimidate content creators that has been speaking about him in a way that he doesn't see as favorable, and trying to find a way to maybe dig into their earnings to see how much money they're making from talking about him. I don't think it's any of his business, 1. And 2, it sounds like he may have broken some ethics guidelines by doing this. I don't know. And we will see what comes of this. But when I heard about this, I was absolutely disgusted and shocked, because in my personal opinion, I do feel like he pays too much attention to what these content creators may have said about him, because, and this is no knock to any of the content creators, but it's not like they're Tasha K, where they have millions of subscribers and get millions of views on their videos. A lot of people still don't even know who he is. So, in my personal opinion, I feel like he's bringing more attention to the situation by doing this and being petty. And so to hear that someone that claims to be a professional attorney, and I have a law license and a law degree, well, it sounds like you either don't know how these things work, or you definitely know how they work, but you don't care, and you thought that you would try to use the court system to scare these people to shutting up about you. And I just don't think that that's right. So with that being said, I know that True T has a legal defense fund that she has started on GoFundMe. You can contribute to it if you desire to do so. I just wanted to talk about that. And if I can find the link again, I'll try to put it in the description box if I have time, in my video. But I really am so disgusted by this, and it just makes him even more unlikable. No one's out here looking for a reason to not like these people. What they have displayed of themselves on the show, for those who have watched it and have been privy to it, and even for those who never watched the show and never will, but because of him going viral, speaking about his needs to get his rocks off with his wife, who was going through chemo and radiation and surgery. And a lot of people witnessed that because that clip went viral all over social media. A lot of people don't like him. So it's because of what he said. And even when he and Kimmy went on TGIF on the Fox Soul Network and YouTube channel, which I talked about that before as well, he didn't do himself any favors. He was actually buckling down, like pretty much saying, I said what I said. But if it offended, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the no apology. And so it was a worthless piece to come before the public and pretty much embarrass Kimmy even more, and her embarrassing herself even more, because she was trying to get in there to say, well, look, I needed it too. I wanted it too. I said that I would never have my husband go without for more than X amount of days, whatever the number of days it was that she said. And it's like, girl, you would have been better off just sitting there letting him speak and not even saying a word, or don't even come on there with him. Just like he was by himself in that Carlos King interview where he said what he said. He should have went on Fox Soul by himself and said what he said, or answered the questions that they brought to his feet. Because Claudia, she was trying. She's like, look, I'm trying to help you, but you're just not making yourself look good. Like, she was basically letting him know, this is not looking good. Like, you're not doing yourself any more favors. In actuality, you're digging a deeper grave for yourself right now, And he didn't care. So for him to care this much about what these content creators have said about him, I don't care if they said that he was freaking serial, Killer. Not saying that it's okay to say that when he's not, but nobody really cares about him that much. And nothing that they have said, I don't believe anything that they have said on their channels has affected him in any way financially. And that's the thing about defamation. And that's what I even tried to talk about several times with regards to the Tasha K and Cardi B situation when she sued Tasha K for defamation. I wasn't saying that it was okay to say someone has an STD if they don't, but the judgment that was handed down really didn't make any sense, because nothing that Tasha K said hurt Cardi B financially. In actuality, a lot of people just looked at Tasha K as not credible, and a lot of people looked at Cardi B as this darling and, you know, oh my gosh, I'm sorry you went through that or whatever. But she wasn't turning down or I wouldn't say she wasn't turning down. No one was turning down deals to work with her based on what Tasha K said. And I'm just using that as an example to say nothing that these content creators has said about him, Maurice Scott, has caused him to have any issues financially in business. And to be honest with you, it's like, what does he really do in business? That's my personal opinion. I'm not here to say that you have to like those content creators or not. I listen to some of them, you know, at some points in time. I just wanted to talk about this one briefly because when I heard what was going down, I really thought that a lawsuit was actually filed. No, I don't take the time to go and look up in Madison County or whatever, you know, clerk of court online to look at the lawsuits, you know, just putting in the search, put the names in to see. Like, no, I don't have time to do that. And after all, thinking about it, it kind of makes sense because I don't even think he knows their real names. So I don't know how he could actually have sued them, because you have to have their, you know, their real names. You can list the aliases in the litigation, but you have to have some form of information about them to, one, be able to have this as a legitimate lawsuit, as well as being able to track them down so that you could have them served. And so it doesn't sound like any of the above has happened, but him issuing a subpoena or maybe multiple subpoenas requesting information that he doesn't have the right to have. And that is, to me, extremely weird. Extremely weird. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on it briefly, guys. You can let me know yours in the comment section. So thanks so much for being here, liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.